everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I want to share with all of you my first impressions and review of Kusshi makeup bags. So this is a brand that I found online recently when I was searching for a way to upgrade the bags that I use for carrying my brushes and my makeup whenever I'm traveling. So for those of you who've followed me for a while, you know that I absolutely love high-end and luxury makeup and also makeup brushes. Particularly, I have a very large Japanese Fude makeup brush collection. And so whenever I travel, I like bringing some of these products with me. And at the moment, my current setup is not that sophisticated. Essentially, I put all of my makeup into this little bag from Lisa Eldridge. And then for my makeup brushes, I usually roll them up in a microfiber towel like this and just put them in a Ziploc bag. So it's a very sanitary approach, but not exactly the most chic or classy. And so that brought me to these Kusshi bags. And so I got their Signature Full Set, which contains a signature bag, along with a clutch, and then an additional organization compartment. So I picked the organization compartment for the makeup brushes. So that's this over here. So I'm going to go through this product in detail today and then do a full face of makeup that would be kind of standard for the makeup that I would bring traveling. And then we'll see if all of those products and brushes fit into this Kusshi set. So if you're interested in learning more about Kusshi or just my travel makeup routine in general, please stick around. So to start off, I just want to first give you an overview of the products on Kusshi's website because I spent a lot of time on their website trying to figure out what I wanted to get. So basically, their bags come in 3 different sizes. So they have an everyday makeup bag, which is quite small, the signature makeup bag, which is what I picked up, and then a vacationer makeup bag that is quite large. Their bags also come in a variety of materials. So most of them come in a fabric material that is washable, so you can just wash the whole makeup bag. You can also upgrade though to a leather bag, which is what I did. So basically the outside is leather and the inside is fabric. And you can pick different sorts of patterns and colors for both the exterior and interior. So there's a few things that make this bag special. So for one, even if you pick the leather one, you can zip out the fabric insert. So there's this internal zipper over here. So as you can see, this part comes off. And let me actually just fully unzip this so we can both see how this looks. So let's see, I guess, oop, there we go. So this part comes out and then there's these snaps on the bottom. This is also my first time doing this because I just got this in the mail. I thought it'd be fun to share this with you guys. So yeah, this whole section just zippers off and then you can snap these off and there you go. So here you have kind of that internal compartment. So you can see that this way you can keep your bag very sanitary because whenever this gets dirty, you can just zip it off and wash it. This section comes with a little zippered pocket over here for any small items that you might want to store. And then on the other side, you have these 2 mesh pockets, which is really cool. Basically, these are advertised for your makeup sponges or really anything else that you want to keep in a mesh pocket. So if your beauty blender, for example, is a bit damp, you can sort of stick it in here and let it dry. So I thought that was a pretty cool design feature. This is what the rest of the bag looks like fully unzipped. So you can see you can actually pretty much completely open the bag, which makes it really convenient to be able to see all of your makeup. And this is how the other side looks. So it does have this flat base, so if you do have a bunch of products in it and you zip it closed, it can sit upright. In terms of the clutch, this is a completely flat component and it opens out like a trifold like this. And you have this nice pocket here where you can stick some items. And then here is the brush insert. So this is how it looks like with the flap up. The flap will make sure that your brushes are nicely protected. And you can actually put this in either the clutch or in the bag. So let me just show you guys how it looks first in the clutch. So basically there are these snaps over here. So you can just snap it in these 4 corners. And so this is what it looks like when it's snapped in. And so basically, if you put this in the clutch, it essentially becomes a brush book. And there are these magnetized components here, and so that way it keeps it shut. And for my brush book, I also upgraded, so this is the camo leather. What I thought was really cool about the set though is you can also put this brush component in here. So there are these additional snaps over here. So if you don't want to take the clutch with you and you just want to take one bag, then you can just put this in here and you can just snap this part closed. And so then essentially you have an additional layer in your bag where you have this part and then this part over here. So it's going to be interesting to me to see how much I can fit in here. This is a lot bigger than my current makeup setup in terms of this plus an additional bag. So hopefully this can fit everything that I would bring. It's funny, when I first got this in the mail, I thought they had accidentally sent me the vacationer bag because to me this seems really big, but this is the signature bag. I did measure it just to double check. So in case you guys are curious, the signature is actually a decent size. So before we put makeup products in the bag, let's go ahead and do a full face of makeup. If you guys aren't interested in this get ready with me portion, feel free to use the timestamps to skip ahead in the video. So for today, I'm going to go in with this brand new Good Apple foundation from KVD. I got this in my latest Ipsy Glam Bag Plus. This is what the product looks like, and it comes in shade Light 021. So I'm going to go in with my 101 brush from BK Beauty. And let's give this a shot. This is a very balmy consistency. Wow, okay. That is very high coverage. Wow, oh my gosh. I feel like I'm just painting on my face. And let me actually bring you guys a bit closer for this portion. Ooh, interesting, huh? Well, this definitely gives coverage. I feel like I don't actually need that much of this product to cover up my face. I don't even really know if I need concealer on top of this. Interesting. I'm glad I got this in an Ipsy bag because I've been very curious about this foundation for a while. I feel like it went super viral and for a while everyone was singing its praises, but then I sort of stopped seeing people use it and so I ended up never really picking it up for myself. But if this works out, I would really like to bring a foundation like this for traveling because usually when I travel, I try to avoid bringing a big bottle of liquid foundation in case for some reason it breaks. So a balm like this would be pretty handy. And in case you use me for shade matching, this shade actually looks pretty good. A little yellowy, a little brightening on my skin, but not a terrible match, considering I didn't actually get to choose the shade. And I do really love this BK Beauty brush. It is very, very soft, and there's really no streaks. All right, so far so good with this foundation. I feel like it's looking pretty good on the skin, and it definitely left a decent amount of coverage even with a small amount of product. And I'm gonna put all the brushes I use off to the side so then we can put them in the brush book later. Now for concealer today, I'm gonna go in with this Jumbo Worker from Sonia G's Kayaki set. I do love bringing her Kayaki brushes whenever I go traveling. And I'm going in with my Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. This is the version that is before the latest reformulation. I've been really, really loving this concealer. Basically, before I got this concealer, I was using sort of a cocktail of a few different concealers because I had ones that I liked better for under eye and ones that I liked better for on blemishes. But I find that this one does a really good job in both areas. So there we have the concealer blended in. For eye primer, I'm going in with my ABH Mini Eye Primer. I really love this one, and I bring it pretty much every time I go traveling because it's just such a trusty primer. And I'm just gonna dab this in with my fingers. So I went off camera to do my brows. I used my Dear Dahlia brow pencil and my Hince brow gel. So now to set the face, I'm gonna go in with my favorite Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush powder. I have this in this travel set, which I have very frequently taken with me whenever I've gone traveling. So I'm gonna go in with this classic face brush from my Kayaki set and use this to just set my face. And this brush is a little bit small, but I find that It does good work at setting, especially the center of my face. And I really hope Charlotte Tilbury comes out with some more of these. This was from over a year ago now and was maybe part of her Valentine's release. Yeah, I think it was maybe like Valentine's 2021. But such a great palette. I really love having the powder in here because you basically can do a full face with just this palette and nothing else. It is interesting though, as I'm putting this on, I am noticing the powder is a little bit deeper than the foundation that I have on today, so it's adding a little bit of depth to my skin. For bronzer, I'm going to go in with this one from PYT. This is their Faux Sun Bronzer Duo in Bali. This is a new bronzer to me. I've never tried this before, so I'm going to go in with my Chikuhodo FO brush and just tap this into my skin. Similar to the KVD foundation, I got this in my latest Ipsy Glam bag, which I just got in the mail. So today I wanted to try out these products. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Let me also actually try some of this shimmery side, maybe more on the high points. Not seeing a ton of shine actually from that. On this side, I'm gonna start with the matte side and then sort of swirl the two together. Put that a little higher. Okay, there's like a little bit of sheen, I guess. Let me try just using them as one on the forehead. I guess this gives you the versatility of if you want to have a matte bronzer or more of a shimmery bronzer, you can have both in one. It's overall quite warm, and so it's definitely giving that bronzy effect more than a contour effect. And if you guys missed my Fude brush video where I featured this FO brush from Chikuhodo, this one is amazing. I would highly recommend the FO series. It just feels so soft on the cheeks. And the finish it leaves is just so beautiful. It really blends things out like a dream because it has that softness and density at the same time. So I would highly recommend this brush. It also has a pretty short handle, so perfect for traveling. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. And I'll also take this jumbo blender from Sonia G just in the matte part to add a little bit of contour to my nose area. So now for the eyes, I wanted to go in today with this Dior Soft Cashmere palette because this is one that I feel like is pretty nice for traveling, really kind of a very chic, universal look. And it's been a little while since I've used this palette. So I'm gonna start with this Refer number 16 brush, and I'm gonna first go into this center shade, which I think is kind of close to a transition shade. And I'm just going to put this all over my crease area. And actually a decent amount picked up on the brush just now. If you're going for a super natural makeup day, you could also just use this all over the lid. And then with the Wayne Goss number 17 brush, I'm going to lightly tap on this deepest shade and just start adding that to the outer corner. Whenever I travel, I always need a really solid neutral palette just for really any sort of occasion that might arise, especially if I'm traveling for work. I am hoping this Dior Soft Cashmere can start entering my travel rotation. And part of my interest in getting this Kusshi makeup bag is typically when I travel, I try to bring palettes that maybe are in cardboard instead of like this sort of packaging, just because I'm always afraid, you know, what if it gets damaged in transit? But hopefully by having a fancier makeup bag, I feel more comfortable bringing some of my luxury products. And so far this palette is performing beautifully. I feel like everything is just blending very quickly and seamlessly. And now I'm going to go in with my GSN 9 brush into this shimmery shade, and I'm going to just sweep this all over the lid. Ooh, that's so pretty. This is definitely the most eye-catching shade of the palette. Really adds the glam. And that shade also picks up really easily. Often I find if I go in with this GSN 9 brush, which is squirrel hair, it has sometimes a little bit of a tougher time picking up shadows and really making everything very sparkly, but as you can see, it did a great job with this shadow. So now just to clean everything up, I'm going to go back in with that Wayne Goss number 17 brush and just clean up any edges. Make sure the shimmers and mattes are seamless in their blend. And finally just go back in with that rougher number 16 just to zhuzh out any edges. Now for the lower lash line, I'm going to go in first with my Hakuhodo brush into this middle shade and sort of just emulate what I did on the top and just sweep this all over the lower lash line. And then take a bit of that deep shade and concentrate that on the outer portion, sweeping it inwards. And then I'll take a little bit of that shimmery shade as well and put that on the inner 2/3. Very nice. And now with my Sonia G Mini Booster, I'm going into the really sparkly shade and putting that as inner corner highlight. So here we are with the completed eye look. These are the eyeliners I went in with. I used my Jung Mool on top and created this wing. And then on my waterline, I used 2 of my Sister Anne eyeliners. The deeper one on the outer portion and then this brighter one just in the inner thirds. So now let's go back to the cheeks to add a little bit more color to this look. So I actually brought a bunch of different possible palettes for this. So I have my Hourglass palette. It's been a little while since I've used this, so I thought this would be a good contender. I also have this new Pat McGrath palette. I've been using this a decent amount. Still haven't had a chance to travel with it, but I bought this specifically for traveling. And then I also have this Natasha Denona Glam Face palette. It's been quite a while since I've used this blush over here. So those are some of the candidates. I think because I already powdered, maybe it's not a good idea to go in with a cream blush. So let's maybe go instead with this Hourglass one for today. And to apply this blush, I'm going to use this new brush from Kyoto that I recently demoed for you guys in my Fude brush haul. This is just such a beautiful brush. I don't know if I feel comfortable actually traveling with this and the Chikuhodo and Hakuhodo brushes that I shared today because they're all so beautiful. I would be very sad if they got damaged in some way. But at least for today's video, I'm gonna see how they look once packed up. But here we are with that really pretty blush. I think this adds just the perfect amount of color to the face while still kind of going with this overall quite neutral look. And this brush makes very short work of it as well. And then for highlighter, I'm going to go in with this Wayne Goss Artist Medium brush, and I'll use this one from that same palette. I really love Hourglass highlights. And I'm just going to sweep this on the high points of my cheeks. And then also some along the bridge of my nose. I feel like highlighter is having a big moment right now with the Charlotte and Rare Beauty highlights. I haven't been quite motivated to pick them up just because I feel like I have quite a lot of really nice highlighters, like this one, that I already rarely use for my collection. So we're almost done. Let's go in with the lips now. I have here my Calla lip liner from Natasha Denona. This is very similar to my natural lip tone, so I often travel with this one. Okay, there we have it on the outer portion of my lips. And then I brought 2 options for lips today. I have my Chantecaille Lip Chic in Calla Lily, and then I have this Gucci lipstick. This one is a little bit more of a spring color. It's They Met in Argentina. Whereas I've been using this one from Chantecaille all the time because it's a little cooler toned. And I think for today's look, even though I do want to mix it up, I think I'm going to have to go in with the Chantecaille. Just because this probably matches better, yeah. It's so funny, when I first bought this lipstick, I had sort of instant buyer's remorse because when I first tried it on, I was like, okay, it feels fine, but was it really worth the hefty price tag? Also, it's kind of a sheer formulation. So at first I wasn't sure if I would like it. It has a really strong birthday cake flavor as well that kind of goes against the whole luxury vibe. But honestly, since I picked this up, I've been wearing it all the time, almost on a daily basis. It's just a perfect sort of My Lips But Better rosy shade. And I wear this a lot on days when I don't have makeup as well. I think it just kind of picks up my whole complexion and makes it look a lot more healthy. But also on days like today when I'm doing slightly cooler toned makeup, I think this matches really well. So zooming you guys out, here we have the final look. What do you guys think? Man, I really am liking how this whole look really came together. I do think I'm going to start traveling with this Dior palette because it was just so easy to put this together. You guys saw how even the crease shades just blended like a dream. And so far the foundation is looking really good too. My skin is quite dry, and especially in these winter months, I can always use a bit more hydration. And I feel like this is looking really good on my dry patches. So now let's get back into the makeup bags. So now that I have all the products that I used today, I think we can test how they fit in the bag. So I'm gonna first try out this makeup brush insert because this is kind of the original motivation for picking up Kusshi in particular. So I have all the brushes I used in today's look, so let's see how well they all fit here. And I'm actually noticing these actually start sort of thinner and then go thicker over here, which is pretty cool. So I guess you can store thicker handles on the right-hand side. I'm gonna try to space these guys out so they don't interfere with each other. I did just quickly give these a little bit of a clean, so that way they don't get this bag dirty right off the bat. I will say that I'm noticing that generally speaking only one brush is fitting in each of these, which is fine from the perspective of keeping everything nicely separated. But if you do have a lot of brushes, you might or might not be able to fit all of them in here. Like, I'm kind of running out of space already, actually. I don't know if I might have to try to double up some of these brushes. And there are 11 pockets total. I guess some of these larger ones can fit multiple brushes like this. Okay, so I was able to successfully fit all of the brushes that I used in today's look. I will say that if you have primarily smaller brushes like Japanese makeup brushes or like Sonia G's Keyaki set, there is going to be quite a bit of extra room up here that you might not use. So for example, I think the BK Beauty brush fits the best, whereas some of these other brushes sort of leave a lot of extra room at the top. So now I have the flap down and I'm folding this in half, and you see how easily this snaps in place. Okay, it's a little bit thick, I feel like, with all of this material. I'm not sure how well this is actually gonna snap. Okay, I'm having actually quite a hard time snapping this shut. Let me try putting this down and seeing. Okay, I got the right angle. Now everything's snapped. It feels very nice and secure. And this is what it looks like if you put it in that clutch. So this basically just becomes a nice brush book. I do always like to have a microfiber towel when I'm traveling with my brushes so that I can clean them. So let me see if this fits in this clutch area. I think this towel is a little bit too big to fit into this pocket. But if I just put it inside like that, let's see if I can. Okay, yeah, it gets a little bit too thick. Okay, so without the towel, it is able to close successfully, and this is what it looks like. So a little bit chunkier with all the brushes inside, but overall it feels pretty secure. Like, this flap is magnetized, but it seems like it's in place. And overall this looks pretty good. I'm quite pleased with how this looks as a brush book. So now let's put this instead into the signature bag. So we're assuming that maybe we can only bring one bag on travel. So here it is. So here it is all snapped in. And that's looking pretty good. It takes up a sizable amount of space in the bag. So let's see how much we can fit in here in addition. So of course we have my trusty little microfiber towel that goes in here. Next I'm going to put in my Charlotte Tilbury palette and my Hourglass palette and that Dior palette. That fills up a decent amount of the space already, but I think we still have some more space. So I'm going to keep tossing things in. There goes the foundation, the concealer. I am realizing that because this is now covering this part, it's a little hard to access this little pocket here if you haven't already put things in there. But let's go ahead and put the primer in here, the little lipstick in here as well. And then I'm going to put the bronzer on this side. And then for all of the eye pencils, I'm going to stick it in this side as well. Okay, that's actually not too bad. I feel like that basically is the full face. So let's zip this up now. Alrighty, here it is all zipped up. So that basically took a decent amount of the space in the bag. I think I can definitely put a little bit more in, like the corners definitely feel like they're not totally full. But I am kind of surprised how full it looks because basically this was just one full face of makeup. So if I did want to bring some additional products, I might not have that much room. So I can understand now why they also have the vacationer bag, because if you, for example, wanted to travel with a bunch of different palettes, like if, for example, I also wanted to bring this palette and this palette, I might not have enough room in this. Though let me just try now to see if I can fit things in. And apologies if it's a little bit hard for you guys to see what I'm doing. I've been trying to hold things up instead of just do it on the table. That way you guys can see things a bit better. But it is a little bit hard to do everything held up. Okay, let's see if we can stuff these in. Real question is whether it still zips up. Okay, yeah, with both of those in there as well, it's not quite zipping up. So that's good to know. I mean, I think that should be fine. Like usually, honestly, when I'm traveling, I will bring a lot of minis. And as you can see, there's still plenty of room for smaller products. But in terms of bigger palettes, you might not be able to bring that many. So on the whole, I would say I'm actually quite pleased with this bag. Like I said, when I first got it in the mail, it looked a lot bigger than what I was expecting. And so I kind of regretted picking it up because I was like, well, you know, I normally have basically like kind of two things this size, and this seems a lot bigger than that. But at the same time, I do like how this protects all of my brushes and keeps them in one place. And also because it has this nice snap out feature, when I'm actually using it, I can just take my brushes out like this and have them nicely displayed as well. And I think if I were going on a longer trip and wanted more space, I could easily just bring along this clutch and put the brush book in here. And then actually, let me try that right now. So if I take the brush book out, yeah, I can definitely fit in those two additional palettes, as you can see here. So now I can fully zip it up, including those additional palettes. So that's great. That means I have that versatility in terms of whether it's a shorter trip or a longer trip. So on the whole, at least based on this initial impression, I would say if you do want to splurge on a makeup bag or brush bag and you want something that looks very luxe, at least based on my research, I wasn't really able to find other brands that were quite as luxe as this that had the functionality that Kusshi does. I think it's cool that they are basically a brand dedicated just to this, and so I feel like they've thought about a lot of details that a lot of other makeup bag brands have not, like the fact that you can snap everything out and wash it, and the fact that you can either put the brushes in this big bag or in the clutch. All of those are just really nice features that I think are really handy for someone who is a makeup lover like myself. I would love to hear in the comments though if you guys have had any experiences with Kusshi, what you think about them. I will have to actually travel with this a few times to give you guys a full updated review. In addition, if you guys have other brands that you found are really great for makeup bags, please let me know because, you know, this is basically the product of me doing a bunch of internet research, but it's always really handy to have people's recommendations. So that's it for today's video. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!